and Revelation part 6. We will talk about remembrance, al-dhikr. The verse says, we have without doubt sent down the remembrance, al-dhikr, and we will assuredly guard it from corruption, al-hijr, verse 9. Also, they say, O you to whom the remembrance, al-dhikr, is being revealed, truly you are mad or possessed, al-hijr 6. Sad, also, Sad, by the Quran containing the remembrance, al-dhikr, al-Quran, al-dhikr, Sad 38 verse 1. If we now turn to the term al-dhikr, the remembrance which, as in the two verses previously of al-hijr, is stated in its definite form. As the remembrance, we notice that in verse 1 of Surat Sad, al-dhikr is the possessive attribute of al-Quran, connected to it by the conjunctive particle the, of. It means that the Quran possesses remembrance. But what exactly is remembrance? We have said that the Quran represents the totality of objective, universal laws that govern every event in the cosmos, nature, and human history. By means of revelation, these laws, which used to exist outside the human mind, were then expressed in human language. The verse says, we have made it a Quran in Arabic, Zukhruf verse 3. Only because of this transformation into a linguistic format did it become possible for human beings to participate in knowledge of the Quran and to remember it spiritually as well as intellectually. The verse says, we have raised unto you your remembrance, dhikrika, Sharh verse 4. We therefore define al-dhikr as the result of transforming the Quran from a non-linguistic naturalist state into words of Arabic. The verse, now we have sent down to you a book, kitaban, wherein is your remembrance, dhikrukum. Will you not understand? Anbiya verse 10. This implies that al-dhikr was a revived or renewed form of what had existed before in our universe. Notice in the following verse the precision of the book when it refers to the renewal of a dhikr and not al-Quran. Whenever any fresh revelation, dhikran, comes to them from their Lord, they listen to it playfully with frivolous hearts. Anbiya verse 2. Once we realize that al-Quran and al-dhikr are not identical, and that al-dhikr is only an attribute of al-Quran after it had been transformed into Arabic, the dilemma of past Mu'tazila group theology should no longer haunt us. We are now able to say that Allah did not create the Quran as such, but only its verbal format, that is al-dhikr. This allows us to state that the Quran has existed since eternity and has been an integral part of Allah's primordial nature. We can also say that by creating the linguistic format of the books, kutub, Allah provided the ground on which the signs of the Quran can be rationally understood. And we sent none before you, but men to whom we made revelation. Question the people of the remembrance, al-dhikr, those who speak Arabic. If you do not know, nor did we fashion them as bodies that ate not food. Anbiya verse 7. After the transformation of the Quran into Arabic, it had become objectified. It entered into the realm of human texts, oral or written, and thus could become part of people's ritual practices. The recitation of the Quran could then become one of the central features of religious life. Believers are now able to recite the Arabic text whether they understand its context or not, and to rehearse the Quran. Naml verse 92. And we have indeed made the Quran easy to understand and remember. l-dhikr, then it is there any that will receive admonition. Al-Qamar, verse 17. The linguistic format of an Arabic text also exists for the other parts of the book. We hear the proof in verse 29 of Surat Fatir. Those who rehearse the book of God, yatluna kitab Allah, establish regular prayer. Fatir, verse 29. Since no human being can rehearse or better recite something that does not exist as a text, we conclude that all verses of the book must have been transformed into a dhikr. This is significant because if we as believers recite the verse of al-kitab, we do so by reciting the transformed parts of the dhikr. And when Muhammad was given the book, he received it as a dhikr. That is, as oral lectures that he only needed to hear and not necessarily to understand, so that he was able to pronounce it clearly to men. We have revealed to you the reminder, al-dhikr, so that you make it known to mankind what has been revealed to them, and that penchant may be reflective. Nahl 44. Now we move into the arsh. The arsh, throne or chair. As we pointed out, the al-Kitab is with him. It comes directly from Allah. It would be more precise to say that the concrete location of al-Kitab is Allah's throne. What and where exactly is Allah's throne? The word throne in Arabic is al-arsh. Can either mean literally the chair of a ruler or metaphorically the seat of power. The book uses the term al-arsh in both meanings. A, throne in the sense of a chair, and he raised his parents high on the throne of dignity, al-arsh, and they fell down in prostration all before him. Yusuf, verse 100. B, throne in the sense of authority or seat of power. He it is who created the heavens and the earth in 6 days, and his throne was over water. Hud, verse 7. Your guardian Lord is God, who created the heavens and the earth in 6 days, and is firmly established on the throne of authority, al-arsh. A'raf, verse 54. And the angels will be on his side, and 8 will that day bear the throne, al-arsh, of your Lord above them. Haqqah 17. God's most gracious is firmly established on the throne of authority, al-arsh, Taha, verse 5. Say, if there had been other gods with him, as they said, behold, they would certainly have sought out a way to the Lord of the throne. Al-arsh, Surat al-Isra 17, verse 2. In verse 7 of Surat Hud, it is said that his throne was over the waters. Does this not imply that a chair was literally placed over the ocean? It rather means that before this universe was created with all its planets, galaxies, and stars, the world consisted of just hydrogen, water particles, and Allah's command ruled over the waters. Then came the period, as verse 54 of Surah Al-A'raf says, when God created the heavens and earth, which became his seat of power, he draws the night as a veil over the day, each seeking the other in rapid succession. He created the sun, the moon, and the stars, all governed by laws under his command. Is it not his to create and to govern? Blessed be God, the cherisher and sustainer of the worlds. A'raf, verse 54. Finally, Allah's authority will reign over a new world, the afterlife, or rather a new becoming of this universe, transformed into a new existence with new laws that will host Allah's seat of power. On that day, 8 angels will bear the throne, this being a metaphor for Allah as merciful God on the day of judgment. In sum, the word al-arsh is a generic term for the metaphorical place where Allah's power resides. It is dependent on the material state of the universe, but has by no means a concrete spatial connotation. This is also true for the verse 42 of Surat Isra, which refers to the only theoretical possibilities that other gods, if they were with him, would have competed with one another to become the one who commands over right or wrong, that is, to become the Lord of the throne, Allah. It certainly does not mean a race by those gods to a specific chair, but we get into that later on. Revelation part 7 will follow. Thank you for following part 6.